Hello lovely people, very quick intro. I applied for Maths and Philosophy at Oxford, Warwick, Edinburgh, Sheffield, Keele. I got offers from all 5. My Oxford offer is 2 A stars in Maths and Further Maths and an A in RE. I appreciate I've been very lucky with some of the support I've received for my personal statement, but I'm just going to tell you the step-by-step I did for writing my personal statement. I did it very independently, to be honest, and then the checking was kind of where other people got involved. And I'll take you through my step-by-step, give you some advice, and I hope it helps. The first thing I did when writing my personal statement was I made a big list of anything I could mention. So this can be grades you've gotten, books you've read, it could have been days you've gone on trips you've gone on, if you've gone to a museum and seen a thing, if you've visited a landmark, all those kind of things. If you've gone to a discussion group, if you set up a discussion group, specific discussions you had in class. One of the things I mentioned was I was at a party at a conference, a weird combo, and all of the people who didn't want to go to the party went into a different room to do homework. And I walked into that room and there was a lad sat there who couldn't do a maths question, who was in the year above me. And I asked if I could have a stab at it. It was A-level content and I was still in GCSE. And he said sure, and sure enough I solved it in front of him. And he was taken aback. Their teacher had come in and couldn't do it either. But I solved it, and that was something I wanted to mention because to me that was a moment where I was underestimated because of my gender perhaps, because of the way I look perhaps, I don't know, maybe because I was in the year below, but I definitely had felt underestimated, and then I proved myself. And so that's just a small example. You can talk about podcasts you've listened to, documentaries you've watched, clubs you've gone to, volunteering you've done, your work experience. Most people do work experience either in year 11 or year 12. You can apply to do it over summer. I appreciate lots of these things require time, and if you're, say, caring for a child, if you're working, these can all be things you've built in. And so you can talk about a time you've been inspired. You know, if you look after a younger sibling, did you try and teach them a little bit of maths or geography or whatever your subject is? You know, mine's maths and philosophy, so a lot of these will apply to those. Just any small examples you can come up with. Create a big long... Oh, and here's another thing to note for that is Oxford and Oxbridge, specifically, and some of the other top or high level or whatever universities don't care about you being well-rounded. They care about you loving your subject. They don't care if you did D of E and you've been swimming since you were 5 and you play piano. They're like, no, talk about your subject. And they want you to be really bloody good at your subject and to really bloody love your subject. And I think that's another thing to know of the opportunities you've had aren't as important. And I know it can feel really tough and it can be a bit rich coming from me who has had so many opportunities, but the things you talk about, it's not about what you've done, it's about how you apply them. And this example was given actually in a talk we had at school, which is why I'm making this video, because I know I'm so privileged to have had that talk at school, and also some year 12s may not be having these talks that they would have been having because of the whole COVID situation. So I'm trying to help, I'm trying to spread my advice. One of the best examples we were given was, which of these do you think will be the better application? Someone who's done work experience shadowing a doctor and someone who's done work experience in McDonald's for a medicine degree. And everyone would think it would be the doctor. However, if in their personal statement they go, and I shadowed a doctor for a week, and then move on, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. You could have shadowed a doctor and sat there in your head, you know, replaying the Pokemon theme tune for the whole day, and you've not absorbed anything, you've not said anything. However, the person who's worked in McDonald's could have said, and at one point someone spilled oil on themselves and it created this burn, and I had to figure out how to deal with this in this high pressure situation. I learned quickly and I resolved the situation, and this is what we did, or this is what another person did, and I learned this from them. And it's all about how you apply it. So your opportunities and what you've done is less important. Okay, so step 2. You've got your big juicy list. It's just write a first draft. It's going to be crap. You're going to read it through and cringe, but I don't care. Just sit and with your list, making sure you mention as many as you can, type it all out, and then we're going to go off that and we're going to draft it. And here's another thing to note, your personal statement has to be 5,000 characters or less, and that includes spaces and paragraphs. Step 3, doing your first draft. This is what I found really intimidating, because I was like, how do I draft? What does that mean? What am I editing? What am I looking for? What am I trying to change? And the method I did that I think was a godsend was I numbered my paragraphs and then I gave them each a title. So I knew what beats, what key info I wanted to hit in each paragraph. And once you've got that, you can just start rewriting it. So I did multiple drafts of each paragraph. So I was like, I don't like the way I've said anything in this subsection where I talked about, let's say, that thing where I did a question better. I was like, I'm coming across like a cocky little twonk. I need to rewrite it. So I just go, okay, I need in this paragraph to talk about this. And I'd write like 5 different versions. And then I'd look through and I'd highlight which ones were the better ones. So I'd be like, oh, I liked that here I pointed out that they were in the year above, but I don't like that here I said, and he underestimated me because I was a girl, because I don't want to bring my gender into it. Or if you do, you can, that's fine. And so once you've highlighted which bits of each draft of the paragraph you like, you can just jigsaw, Frankenstein, puzzle them together until you've got a kind of paragraph you really like. And there's going to be a lot of tweaking words. There's going to be a lot of changing enthusiastic to passionate, all these words that get used quite a lot. But another huge tip I have is don't repeat a word if you can. Obviously you're going to have to repeat words like the and maths if you agree with maths, but words like passionate, enthusiastic, engaged, developed, understood, intrigued, all those kind of words. Get yourself a thesaurus. Look at ones that you would still use. Don't be putting in words you wouldn't use in your poshest language. Try and not say the same word twice, and if you're going to, it should be top and bottom of personal statement. Okay, so step 4. We've gotten paragraphs we quite like. We're liking them. Now you want to think about how you're going to order your paragraphs. So for me, I'm quite a special case because I'm a joint honours, which means I'm doing 2 subjects in one. And so I just went maths, philosophy, and then my conclusion was I like both. And at the start of the philosophy one, I was like, so why am I also doing philosophy if I love maths so much? Well, I think they link because they're both about truth and knowledge and understanding and blah, 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 blah. So I did it very blocky like that. But the other thing you want to think about when you're structuring is what are your stronger paragraphs? Which things are you like, oh, I am a beast. So I made to put that just before my conclusion. So as they're rounding out reading it, they're like, oh, wow, smart stuff. And so you kind of want it to go like that. Your strongest paragraphs near the start and the end, your weakest stuff in the middle. That's what I think anyway. I'm not an expert, please don't shout at me, I don't know everything. Once you've kind of got that flow, then give it to other people to mark. If not, here's a really good tip. If you put it into Google Translate, there's a speak function, and get it to speak it out to you and sit there and listen to that drab voice, because when I'm reading it in my voice, I'm like, I really love maths, here's the maths things, maths, you know, and it's got all my inflections, the way I read it. You put it through that Google Translate, it's sounding different, and that's probably how the admissions tutors are reading it. They're reading it in the world's dullest voice. And then, once you've had people check it, that's kind of it. So, now just onto some more general tips, and here's the big juicy one. Here's the trap loads of people fall down. It is so much less about what you've done and so much more about what you've learnt or how you applied it. So, I didn't mention a single book I'd read because I didn't read any bloody books. I didn't mention lots of things I'd done because I didn't have a good application for them. And you can list 100 book titles, 100 podcasts, 100 video essays, 100 impressive summer schools, 100 this, that and the other. But if that's all you're doing, you're making a list, you may as well send them bullet points, not a personal statement. Your personal statement is a piece of writing that you need to do kind of like an essay. And something I always imagine in my head is, I don't know if other people watch these, but I watch a lot of video essays on YouTube of people like analysing films and stuff. And I'll imagine that I'm writing one of those where I'm like, you know, using my poshest language but still doing it in my voice. And so, whatever you've done, it's so much better to have done one thing and to create all these branches out of it than to have done 100 things and have no application over here of it. And so an example of this might be, okay, you read a book and there's a chapter in this book that sparks your interest on this other topic. So your interest has been sparked by this book, you narrowed it down to a chapter that sparks an interest. What do you do with this interest? Are you a student who go, interesting, close this book, moves on with day? Or are you an engaged student who wants to become more informed, so goes, oh, interest has been sparked, let me go tappity tap, research away on Google, you know, or go to my local library, or I ask a teacher, or I seek out further information, I watch a YouTube video, I listen to a podcast. Spotify has, you know, hundreds of podcasts for free. I looked up this topic, sparked interest, what did you do with this interest? Or what did you do with this curiosity? And you might go, oh, well then I Googled it and I found out this thing. And so I analysed it and I created a skill. Now, these are the things you want to talk about. Interest, skill, understanding. I would call those the 3 categories. Interest, they need you to be interested in your course. Otherwise, you're not going to sit there and do a good degree over 4 years or 3 years or however many years doing that course. You need to have the interest. So did it spark interest, intrigue, enthusiasm, passion, blah, 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 all those kind of things. Next one is skill. What can you do? Are you good at it? So for me, I'll give examples. My interests, I talked about how I've been interested in maths since a really young age, because whenever I was bored, I would go to my dad, who's a maths teacher, and say, I'm bored, teach me new maths, and he would. My skill, I talked about that example where I went and absolutely aced that question, or I dropped my score out of 240, I dropped I think 7 marks over the whole of GCSE maths. That's an evidence of my skill. The fact I got an A-star distinction in further maths when I taught myself. Here's another thing, I taught myself GCSE further maths because my school didn't offer it. That shows interest and passion. I'm not just saying I'm passionate, I can back that up because I'm so passionate that even when school weren't going to let me do GCSE further maths, I said, nay, I will teach myself it. And skill, I got an A-star distinction in it. Oh, I sound so cocky. I'm not trying to be cocky, but you have to be confident in your abilities when you're writing a personal statement. If you're like, oh, well, I'm all right. No, selling yourself, pitch yourself. Convince them that you are the student that they need in their school. And the third one is understanding. What you can apply, you've got a skill, you can do it, you're interested in it, but do you have that deeper knowledge you want? And this is more humanities. I'd say skill goes more into the STEM subjects and understanding goes more into the humanities. Luckily, my degree is half of each. And so understanding, did you gain knowledge? Did you gain an analytical skill that helped you to understand a greater concept? So for me, I talked about, I'm only talking about maths here because that's my main focus, sorry philosophy, I love you. But I talked about how I find maths tangible, and all my teachers were like, Amy, what the hell are you on about tangible? That makes no sense. And I was like, I'm not going to edit it out because it's how I feel and it's my language. It's my language for maths and I'm going to stick to my words, but I need to explain it. So you know what? I will whip up my personal statement here and I will read you that paragraph where I talk about tangibility. This was personal statement draft 12. So I did 12 drafts over a series of months where I had lots of time to think on. I feel my capability to thrive in the face of mathematical challenges is because I find maths tangible. Cool. What the frick does tangible mean to me? Well, I find maths tangible. I feel a part of the maths, not separate to the numbers, but aware of the inner workings and moving alongside them to a solution. So I explain that I feel maths tangible, and this is my understanding of maths. So not only am I bloody good at maths, you can be bloody good at maths because you've been taught all the methods. You can make a robot good at maths by teaching it all the methods. But when I come across something that I've never seen before, because I have that understanding of maths, I'm able to strip out bits of understanding from other topics, not just the skill of doing them, but the understanding of them to apply to this new challenge. I summed that up really well then. Oh, I was so scared I wouldn't be able to find the words, but she did it. There you go. And that's what you need to talk about. So your interest or enthusiasm, excitement, your skill, your capability, your doing the thing, and your understanding, your thinking of the thing, your grasping of the thing. They're kind of the 3 notes you want to hit. And yeah, it's not the end of the world. There's other parts of your application. If you're doing Oxbridge, there's probably going to be a test you'll do. There might be interviews you do if it's Oxbridge or medicine or some other degrees do them. No, there'll be your reference, there'll be your grades. So not everything is writing on this personal statement. I certainly look back at some lines of mine and I'm like, oh, I thought I wrote a way better personal statement than I clearly did. As long as it's in your voice and it's authentically you, then it'll be alright. And admissions tutors, they have done this job for a very long time, and whilst they do make mistakes, they are doing their job. And if you're just not a right fit for that school, then it's a good thing you get rejected, because you'd have been miserable there. And this leaks through into everything for me. It was, I knew I had to be authentically me. And, you know, in a STEM subject, that was quite scary, walking in as a very gay-looking girl. In my interviews, Mum, which I completely understand why she was looking out for me and trying to do the best for me. I'm not slagging off Karen in any way. Big love for Karen. But Mum was like, I think you should tone down how you dress. I think you should do not these bad boys. And I said no. I said, if they're going to reject me because I look the way I do, or because I express myself the way I do, then I don't want to be at that school. I don't want to be in a school that won't be suited for me if they don't think this will work. And to the same token, if I'd have got accepted looking like that, I'd have felt like an imposter the whole time, even more than you do automatically. I would have felt like I was wanted as someone else and not me. And so I think it's really important to be authentic. Be in your voice. Tell them why you're great, why you want to go to uni to do that subject, why you love that subject, why you're passionate, why you're skilled, why you understand. Wow, I looped it back to my 3 things, didn't I? If you would like any more advice on any particular topics in the whole uni application, or doing A-levels, doing GCSEs, whatever, I now have them all under my belt. I plan on making videos about Oxford, hopefully, if I'm ever there. And yeah, if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments. So I will happily answer them. I'll definitely be there. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful. Yeah, love yourself, stay safe, and eat plants. Bye.
Make sure to like and subscribe.